Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's me again, Golden Blue Dude. Hey, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button. This channel is home of at least one college football video every single day, and college basketball will be rolling around pretty soon, so I'll do some videos on that when it gets here. But for now, we're still focused on college football. We are now on day 3 here at Disney. We had a great day yesterday at Magic Kingdom, taking a little bit of a breather today, but tomorrow we'll be headed to Hollywood. That's where all the good rides are, so that's gonna be a fun day tomorrow. Anyways, today, it's funny that every time I speak the truth about a team whenever they're regressing, even though it's not a big regression, slight regression, all of a sudden I'm a hater. And the flavor of the week, well, the flavor of the year for this year is Alabama. All of a sudden, Golden Blue Dude is an Alabama hater, because before the season even started, I said, hey guys, Alabama's going to take a slight step backwards. Why? Because they lost like 85% of their offense. How could you not take a step backwards? Oh no, Golden Blue Dude, Alabama reloads every year. I know that, but experience matters. Do you remember 2019? Yeah, you took a slight step backwards because of the lack of experience. And then in 2020, boom, historic team. Same thing, I knew it was going to happen this year, slight step backwards. Next year, Alabama could once again have a historic team, go undefeated, nobody could even touch them. But for this year, I predicted them to regress. That makes me an Alabama hater. Okay, let's actually look at the numbers real quick. We're not really going to talk about Georgia because they're blowing everybody out. Georgia looks far and away like the best team in the nation, so I'm not even going to include them in this argument. We'll be talking about Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, Cincinnati, and even Notre Dame, because I've heard Notre Dame belongs in the playoffs now. I'll get to them here in just a minute. But first, Alabama. Let's take a look at their schedule and see what they've done. They started off the seeding by beating Miami, who was ranked at number 14 at the time, 44-13. Miami's turned out to be a dud. They're a 6-5 football team right now. They beat FCS Mercer 48-14. Decent FCS team, 7-3, second in the Southern Conference. Then they went on the road and barely beat Florida 31-29. Florida was ranked number 11 at the time, but now they're 5-6. Oh, by the way, Georgia beat Florida 34-7, so there's you some comparison. Came back home, beat Southern Miss 63-14. Southern Miss a terrible team. They're 2-9. They beat number 12 Ole Miss 42-21. Ole Miss has turned out to be a pretty good team, 9-2, and currently they're number 8 in the AP poll. That's a pretty good win. That's the best win Alabama has on their record. Next week, they went on the road, lost at Texas A&M 41-38. Texas A&M is now 8-3, and they're ranked number 14. I think that's too high. Number 14 is too high for a 3-loss team. For me, that's too high for a 3-loss team. And by the way, I did predict Alabama to lose on the road to Texas A&M before the season even started. You can go back and look at my prediction videos. I predicted that. After that, they stayed on the road, beat Mississippi State 49-9. Mississippi State is now 7-4, not ranked anymore. Came back home, beat Tennessee 52-24. Tennessee not very good either. They're 6-5. So a home game against LSU, beat them 20-14, and LSU had a chance to win that game with a Hail Mary, and if they would have hit the extra point. LSU's a 5-6 team trying to get to a bowl now. Stayed at home, beat New Mexico State, who's 1-10, 59-3. And then this past week, they beat number 21 Arkansas, 42-35, only by a touchdown. And the AP kept Arkansas ranked at number 25. That'll give Alabama another win over a ranked opponent. See what I'm getting at here? So overall, technically, Alabama has wins over 2 ranked opponents. Arkansas at number 25 and Ole Miss at number 8. I will say that win over Ole Miss, that's a pretty good win. But you can't forget about that loss on the road to Texas A&M. I know. The AP poll has them ranked in the top 15. I just don't agree with that. Now let's look at Ohio State. Here's what they've done. They started off the season with a win at Minnesota 45-31. Minnesota's turned out to be a decent team. They're 7-4. They lost to number 12 Oregon at home 35-28. Oregon's 9-2, and right now they're ranked number 11 in the AP poll. Stayed at home, beat Tulsa 41-20. Tulsa's 5-6. Beat Akron 59-7. Akron's 2-9. Went on the road, beat Rutgers 52-13. Rutgers 5-6. Came back home, beat Maryland 66-17. Maryland's 5-6. Stayed home, beat Indiana 54-7. Indiana's 2-9. Another home game against number 20 Penn State 33-24. They won that game. Penn State's now 7-4. Then on the road to Nebraska, beat them 26-17. Nebraska 3-8. Came back home, beat number 19 Purdue 59-31. Purdue 7-4. And then walloped number 7 Michigan State 56-7. Michigan State's 9-2 and now ranked number 12 in the AP poll. So I think Ohio State has better wins than Alabama, and I think they have a better loss. That's why I have Ohio State ranked ahead of Alabama. All right, let's talk about Michigan next. They're 10-1 right now. Let's see what they've done. They beat Western Michigan 47-14. Western Michigan 6-5 now. Beat Washington 31-10. Washington 4-7. Beat Northern Illinois 63-10. Northern Illinois is actually a pretty good team, 8-3, probably the best team in the MAC. Beat Rutgers at home 20-13. Rutgers 5-6. Went on the road, beat Wisconsin 38-17. Wisconsin's now 8-3 and ranked number 18 in the nation. See, that's more where a 3-loss team should be. Wisconsin at number 18, not Texas A&M at number 14. Stayed on the road, beat Nebraska 32-29. Nebraska 3-8. Came back home, beat Northwestern 33-7. Northwestern 3-8. Lost on the road at number 8 Michigan State 37-33. Michigan State 9-2, and they're ranked number 12 in the AP poll right now. And Michigan should have won that game. Everybody that's watched that game knows that the refs took off a touchdown that probably would have sealed the deal for Michigan. They would have had a tremendous lead over the Spartans, but instead the refs took that off, and Michigan State mounted a comeback and beat Michigan. And it was on the road. Came back home, beat Indiana 29-7. Indiana 2-9. Went on the road, beat Penn State 21-17. Penn State 7-4. And then went on the road, beat Maryland 59-18. Maryland's 5-6. So even Michigan has looked a little bit better than Alabama. They have a win over a top 25 team at number 18, Wisconsin. And the fact that the AP poll kept Arkansas ranked at number 25, that's the only reason why Alabama has more wins over top 25 teams than even Michigan. And by having Texas A&M ranked number 14. And see, now they have Michigan State only 2 spots ahead of Texas A&M, even though they're 9-2 and Texas A&M's 8-3. So that makes that loss a little bit more comparable. You see what I'm saying there? Now let's talk about Cincinnati. Well, the bottom line is they're undefeated. I know their schedule is weak, but they did try to beef it up by scheduling Indiana and Notre Dame. They can't help that Indiana turned out to be a dud. Here's what they've done. They beat Miami of Ohio 49-14. The Red Hawks are 6-5. Stayed at home, beat FCS Murray State 42-7. They're 6-5. Went on the road, beat Indiana 38-24. They're 2-9. Went on the road, beat number 9 Notre Dame 24-13. Notre Dame's 10-1, and right now they're currently ranked number 5 in the nation. That's the best win out of anybody in the nation right now, especially for an undefeated team. Came back home, beat Temple 52-3. Temple's 3-8. Beat UCF 56-21. UCF 7-4. At Navy 27-20. Navy's 2-8. At Tulane 31-12. Tulane's 2-9. Tulsa 28-20. Tulsa's 5-6. At South Florida 45-28. South Florida 2-9. And then finally a home game against SMU 48-14. And SMU is 8-3. But of course, nobody wanted to rank SMU, even when they had only 1 loss or 2 losses. See what I'm saying? They're not giving Cincinnati any chances to beat a ranked opponent as much as possible. I mean, even Houston fell 2 spots after whooping Memphis. So Notre Dame should be disqualified from this conversation if you don't put Cincinnati in. The bottom line is Alabama has a loss and Cincinnati doesn't. Ohio State has a loss and Cincinnati doesn't. I would have Georgia ranked number 1. They're undefeated, blowing everybody out. I would have Cincinnati number 2. They're undefeated. No, they haven't blown everybody out, but they have a great road win against number 5 Notre Dame. Number 3, that's where I would have Ohio State. Yes, they lost at home to Oregon, who looked good at the time. Oregon still only has 2 losses, even though they got blown out by Utah. And Ohio State just blew out a top 10 team at home 56-7. And number 4, that's where I would have Alabama. They lost on the road to Texas A&M, and yes, the AP poll does still have them in the top 15, but Texas A&M has 3 losses. That is a worse loss than what Ohio State has. And of course, Cincinnati, they don't have any losses at all. What possible justification is there for Alabama being ranked over Ohio State and Cincinnati? There is none. Alabama, at best, should be ranked number 4. And right now, yes, I would put them in the playoffs, but they still have to go on the road to Auburn, and they have to play Georgia in the SEC Championship. So they're probably going to eliminate themselves because they'll lose either one or both of those. I think they have a pretty good shot of beating Auburn, but they're definitely going to lose to Georgia. So, Alabama fans, since you're accusing Golden Blue Dude of being an Alabama hater, what is your argument? Why should Alabama be ranked number 2 in the nation? Oh, Alabama has wins over 2 ranked opponents. Well, Arkansas is barely ranked now, and they have 4 losses. So really, that just leaves you with 1 good win, and that's Ole Miss. That's a pretty good win, but you lost to Texas A&M. You can't forget about that. And Texas A&M is a 3-loss team. Look, I think Alabama's going to be back next year. I think they'll probably go undefeated, have a historic team, win the national championship. But for this year, you're not a playoff caliber team. That's just how it is. And if you're new to this channel, no matter who you pull for, one day you'll probably accuse me of being whoever your team is, hater, because I'm going to be down on them. I can't be high on everybody every single year. Last year I was down on Georgia. Oh, you're a Georgia hater. This year, Of course, I'm super high on them just like everybody else. So all of a sudden, I'm not a Georgia hater anymore. It happens. You're not going to have a great team every stinking year. So don't let your emotions get the best of you and say, oh, you're an Alabama hater even though you're telling the truth. So forewarning, you're probably going to think that I'm a hater of whoever team you root for because I will be down on them eventually. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.